Hello folks, this is John Lincoln, and today I am going to give you an unfair competitive advantage with something fascinating that looks like it belongs in a dusty math book. I am pretty sure that you did not know that the traveling salesman problem can be applied in leadership and management issues. We will discuss here how it can help a leader or manager on sequencing decisions, meetings, projects, and deals. First, let me explain what the traveling salesman problem is and where it is commonly used. The traveling salesman problem is basically trying to help you find the shortest route on a bunch of cities that you need to visit. Your goal is to visit every city once and then return home. The key question that needs to be solved is the shortest route that hit them all. This is just pure route planning. It is not as easy as you think that it is, because once the number of stops grows, the number of possible routes explodes into an absurd mess. If you just have a few stops, you can eyeball it. However, with many stops, your brain becomes a spinning beach ball, and you start making strategic guesses, or to put it simply, you will be so confused. This is why this problem is used everywhere in the real world for route optimization. Think delivery trucks, field service technicians, repair crews, distribution, warehouse picking paths. This is pretty much everywhere where companies plan multi-stop logistics. Just imagine what will happen to a driver with 12 stops who chooses randomly. They will be wasting time, fuel, and patience. Conversely, a driver with a smarter route does more in less time, spends less money, and hopefully makes more customers happy. The next time you see a fleet moving with eerie efficiency, remember that you are literally watching the traveling salesman problem being solved and applied in real life. To put it simply, the optimized route is the strategy. Now here's the leadership twist. In organizations, you can use proxies for places, as in the cities do not have to be physical places. For example, the cities can be decisions, conversations, stakeholders, projects, customers, blockers, and bottlenecks. You can use distance as a proxy for context switching, confusion, morale damage, political resistance, reputational risk, or the number of meetings it would take to solve an issue. So the traveling salesman problem methodology can be applied on leadership issues. Leaders can use this to navigate complexity in their daily issues with an intentional route. It's not only what a leader does that matters, the sequence in which a leader's does matters too. The same actions in a different order or sequence will yield a completely different and better outcome. Leaders can have the right strategy, the right meetings, the right people, and the right decisions, but could sabotage it all by the wrong sequencing, or rather by taking the long way around. You can do all the right things in the wrong order and still lose. Let's start with people management, as this should be a priority for any leader. In this example, a manager or leader can sequence their one-to-one meetings and key touch points. Many leaders treat their week like a random pinball machine. They keep bouncing from meeting to meeting based on the most anxious and or who booked first. Now, if you apply the traveling salesman problem-solving methodology, then your cities can be assumed as any relevant variable. For example, it can be your direct reports, your peers across different functions, or perhaps even the 2 or 3 problematic folks whose mood can shift. The overall mood can all be assumed as different variables. Managers and leaders can then proxy distance for emotional load or uncertainty, and perhaps even the switching costs of constantly changing context. In any sequencing, it would behoove upon a leader to deal with the highest risk issue earlier, as waiting usually increases the cost. Another approach might be to schedule high-trust conversations around high-tension ones so that you preserve energy and clarity. In other words, the same meetings, different order, and wildly better leadership results. A good example to use the right sequencing will be when a leader is forced to handle crisis communications. If something breaks, or if there is an outage, an incident, or a product issue, a leader will have to face multiple audiences, including executives, support, sales, key customers, the whole company, and the public. The Traveling Salesman Problem-solving method will enable a leader to sequence the stops. Here is an example. First, you gather the facts with the people closest to the reality. Second, you align with an executive sponsor so the story is consistent. Third, you brief frontline teams like support and sales because they will be answering questions immediately, and if you do not give them a script, they will freestyle. Fourth, you contact the most exposed customers so that they hear directly from you and not through social media. Then you communicate internally more broadly. After your broad internal communications, you then communicate to the press and other external stakeholders. This structured approach reduces the stress and tension levels of the overall crisis. The overall confusion and damage drops and trust increases. Another example where the traveling salesman problem-solving methodology can be used is for winning buy-in for a controversial decision. The controversial decisions could include in areas like restructuring, reorganization, compensation changes, shifting of priorities, and/or shutting off a project. Many leaders make the classic mistake of announcing first and then negotiating afterwards. The traveling salesman problem solution thinking would then require us to proxy cities as stakeholders and to sequence distance as possibly resistance, trust deficit, and the power of influence. As a leader, you can perhaps start with trusted and respected connectors who can pressure test the plan for blind spots. Then perhaps you can meet the influential skeptics early on. If you do not address the skeptics early, they might create their own negative narrative and communicate it widely. Then it would be best to sequence to align with the managers who must execute before you share it widely. This sequencing approach would result in far less revolt and better adoption by all. This sequencing will enable folks to feel respected and will signal leadership commitment to execute the change. The next example is on project portfolios. You can use the traveling salesman problem solution method here as well. Your project portfolio can be proxies for different cities. The portfolio could include projects, initiatives, launches, migrations, platform upgrades, and so forth. The distance proxy could be the dependency cost, resource contention, integration risk, the hidden costs of constant context switching, and any other problems. If you sequence this badly, you can create thrash, bottlenecks, and delays that could make you feel like no project ever completes. The way to handle a complex project portfolio is to group initiatives that share scarce resources, and by handling high uncertainty items early. Many folks do not realize that it is often the discipline of sequencing that makes some leaders look special when they are able to prioritize and complete their projects as scheduled. So here is what I want you to take away from this session. Every organization has movements, and movements have costs associated with them. These movements can be across conversations, decisions, customers, and projects. Just to recap here, the traveling salesman problem asks as to how do we visit everything that we must visit while minimizing the total cost. Therefore, the leadership version for project portfolio prioritization is basically what does a leader prioritize that reduces friction and increases the overall progress of the project. So the next time, if your week looks like a junk drawer full of meetings, or if your quarter looks like a crowded highway of priorities, all you need to do is to just ask what your route will be. Then list all the stops. After that, define what distance means in your world. Define it as to whether it is time, risk, morale, friction, and or resistance. Finally, all you have to do is to choose the order that makes each next step easier. This is John Lincoln, signing off. And here is a profound thought for you to reflect upon. Leadership is not only about picking the destination, rather, it is about choosing the sequence that keeps your team's energy, trust, and momentum alive long enough to reach the destination.